Hello, everyone. Welcome to day 3 of Media Literacy 201. Today we are going to be discussing main themes. We're going to be talking about what some of the main themes of Project Sekai and the Nightcord story are, and we're going to be using the the event We Escape to Survive as sort of our through line to discuss that idea. So just a recap from yesterday. Yesterday was our 101 recap. We talked about what the different type of texts were, right? The primary text, the supporting text, the paratext. We talked about what themes are, right? How you that they're not just one word, that they're an idea or a concept, not a topic. We talked about what metaphors are, that they are used as ways to express something that is true, that is difficult to say directly, that there are a ton of different types of metaphors. It's not just direct comparison, it can be sort of long running stuff. And we talked about sort of how we're going to be performing our analysis going forward through the course, right? We looked at summarizing, death the author, stuff like that. So, what are main themes? Main themes are the primary thing that a text is about. And remember from yesterday, that is not a plot summary, that is a thematic aboutness, right? It is an argument that the text is trying to convey, a question, a moral message. And so these can be standalone. A lot of short stories especially will have like one core idea that is all that they're talking about. That's what they're going for. That's what they want you to understand. The structure of Project Sekai, such that you have sort of this overarching plot with a ton of little story bits, lends itself very well to supportive sub-themes. So we're going to be talking about that. And each each little story will have like a main theme that is part of and supports the overall main theme of the story as a whole, right? So, like I said, we're going to be looking at We Escape to Survive. We're going to talk about the main theme of We Escape to Survive, and we're going to look at how that builds into the main themes of the Nightcord at 2500 story at large. Project Sekai is useful because these are often stated clearly, especially the stories for the the event stories, right? You'll have a conversation near the end that tells you in very plain terms what the point is, right? What you're trying to get out of it. And this is useful for conveying what the main point is. And so our further analysis can be, okay, well, how is that main point built to? What are the things that support it? So Nightcord at 2500, and I have this this lovely picture of the Korean drama. It's okay to not be okay. So these are sort of four things that I picked out. The story uh, talks about a lot more than these, but these are things that I think the story really wants to focus on for all of its different characters in some way or another, right? That both Mafuyu and Mizuki and Anna struggle to be accepted by their peers, by their parents, that getting better isn't it's not a straight line, right? Kanade takes steps forward towards getting rid of her guilt, moving past her feeling of guilt, but then she something reminds her of her family, and there's a warmth in that, there's a love in that, but also it brings that back up, and so you deal with a lot of very complicated emotions and the disintegrating of comfortable spaces because they become comfortable because they're very easier. They're easy to get into when you're sad and you're used to them, and when things are hard, and and sometimes you have to let those go to start getting better, and so it's very hard, right? We'll see that as sort of the main theme of We Escape to Survive, is that it can be getting to being better can sometimes mean taking a step back to breathe. And but ultimately you need to take a step forward, and taking a step forward is hard and it's scary. And the sort of last bit there, that friends give you that safety, right? It is a place to fall back to, people that you can rely on, that you know will be there. But there, and the story is very good at this, there is still that doubt, right? It doesn't trivialize the difficulty and the doubt and the feeling that, you're not enough, that people won't care. But, time and time again, your friends, the people that care for you, the people that genuinely love you, will come through for you. And that is an important thing to the story. So we're going to talk about We Escape to Survive. This is the Mizuki 3 event, if I don't have my numbers wrong. And I will use the sticker because the sticker is a very good encapsulation of the message from the conversation in part 7 at the end between Mizuki and Mafuyu, that it's okay to run away. I wanna focus a little bit here and sort of start digging into this theme on the word okay, because okay is a very specific and particular word with a very specific and particular meaning, and okay is not good. Okay is not beneficial, and I think it's really important to the story that we're saying it's okay to run away, right? Running away is not going to solve the problem. Running away is going to hopefully put you in a position where you can solve the problem. So that's just that word alone makes it a very nuanced idea, and this being a Mizuki event, you get a a sort of tension there. This is why it's important that it's Mizuki saying it. Is that for her, it is no longer. She feels it is no longer okay for her to run away. So we as readers can look at this and be like, okay, Mizuki is saying this because she has been running away for years. Running away is her default mode of operation, and she has benefited from that, right? She has become comfortable, but it has brought her to a very fragile state. And so it's okay, but it's not good, and she knows that it's not good. So that's why it's important that it's Mizuki saying this rather than Enna, who, Enna ran away from her problems after she started getting criticized at her art class, and this is the focus of some of the early Enna events. But she comes back and she faces them, whereas Mizuki very much struggles with, because she knows that it is okay and because it being okay is comfortable, that she doesn't push forward from that. And why is it important that this is being said to Mafuyu? How does this relate to Mafuyu's story? Well, because Mafuyu has been learning that running away helps her, in ways that are reactive and unhelpful, right? You look at Mafuyu 3, where she skips on her prep exam or her mock exam and goes to the theme park, right? That's her running away from the problem, but she's not thinking it through. She's doing it because sort of intuitively in her gut she knows that she has to run away. She needs some time. She needs some space. But she hasn't had that vocalized to her, which is sort of why those stories fall in this order. Because it's a lesson that Mafu was learning. She just needs voice to her because she feels the guilt and the pain of doing it when she gets sick and goes to Kande's house, when she skips out on the mock exam and goes to the theme park because she thinks it's not okay. She thinks that it is a personal failing that she's doing it, but her body is compelling her to. Continuing, how does the story build to this idea? And a lot of this comes from the fact that it is a Mizuki event. That we there's a scene at the start of part 7 of We Escape to Survive where that I really like, that I'm going to I'll take it from this angle, that they go to Spoojoy Park, which is where Kanade and Anna went when Kanade was in a slump. Kanade wasn't feeling good, and the way in which they act there is very different for the two groups. But it continues this idea that stepping outside and taking a break and just doing something to take your mind off of what is bothering you is good and not good, is okay, it's acceptable. It can put you in a position where you can start to take steps to get better. And this is in many ways the bulk of Mizuki's story as a character. And this is why this is a Mizuki event, is because the tension of it being okay is the point, right? It's building on that theme for Mizuki, and this helps if we go back to our overarching themes, helps build on these because it shows us that getting to a better place itself is scary. Getting to a better place itself is hard, but then stepping out of that place can be even scarier, even harder. Uh, and that you you don't need people, but it is very helpful to have friends that are helpful. There's a reason that Mafuyu goes to Kanade's house when she runs away in Mafuyu 4, because it is a place where she feels that she can survive, that she feels that she can begin to protect herself. And it's hard, right? We see in Matthew 5 later on her escaping that and starting to take steps forward. So it gives this nice, and we'll talk about it later, the idea of, in the course, the idea of parallelism. This continuing structure between Mizuki and Mafuyu. Uh, so we can, and there's a lot to dig into. I touched like all of this just comes from looking at the themes from big events. I brought in the Spoojar Park event, which is not a key event, but you can see how it like sort of adds to this. And so there's a lot that we can do to dig deeper that I don't have time for in this course, but I highly recommend you do on your own time. So what are some conclusions that we can draw from this? So a story can have more than one main theme, right? We talked about sort of a ton of different themes that Nightcord, the Nightcord overall story has, and that you can use sub themes and sub ideas to help support that main theme, right? The main theme of we escape to survive builds upon and adds to those core overall structures, and that the main theme can be explored in multiple ways. The main themes can take a ton of different angles, right? You can look at it from what from a ton of different stuff, and there's going to be homework, or not homework, but I an encouragement to look at the first Night Court event, Imprisoned Marionette, and sort of come at it from this angle and use that as use this and sort of thinking about the main theme and how does this sort of add and build to what Night Court is doing. So I encourage you to do that after between now and next courses. Go back, reread Imprisoned Marionette with a specific focus on how it is using its main theme. As always, if there are any questions, I am available in the same place as every last part of this. You can also leave a comment. I decided that would probably be a good idea, and I can address it at the start of the next part if there are comments. Anyway, thank you, and see you tomorrow.